What's going on, guys? It's Rylan with Rylan's Amazing Photography, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be giving you all some tips and showing you all my setup for bird photography. Bird photography is something that's super exciting and fun and enjoyable. The birds are small and they're fast, so you have to have some really good techniques to be able to get great photos of them. However, before I get into today's video and give you all an insight on how I do it and my setup and some techniques I like to use, I want to remind you guys to go down below and like today's video. While you're down there, you might as well subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. I'm sorry that today's video is being uploaded a little later. I usually like to have the videos up by about 3, but today that's just not been possible, and I haven't had time to pre-record this week. I've had a super busy week, and the week is still going to be super busy going forward, but busy is usually good when it comes to photography because that means I'm making... Anyways, so... the first thing I want to talk about is a good setup. You're going to want to have a good setup for bird photography. It can be very complicated for bird photography to use a tripod and a gimbal. But if you're going to want to make sure that there are these two things. You're going to want to have a good and sturdy tripod. Now, I don't care what tripod you use. I really personally don't think the tripod matters that much. As long as it's sturdy, I can't stress that enough. Don't go on Amazon and buy a $10 tripod and think you're going to be able to start shooting bird photography, because you won't be able to. That won't work. Don't even try it. Especially the ones that have like the little rotating head thing that like you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know what that part's called, but don't get them. The second thing you're going to want to need in your setup is a wildlife gimbal. Now, I picked this one up. It's a newer one. You can get it on Amazon for about $70. And the tripod I use is the Zombie M6. Now, this was sent to me. I did not pay for this. It was a sponsored video. You can click right here if you want to see my thoughts on the Zombie M6. It's an older video, so I really don't go as in-depth. I'm not going to lie about it. But this tripod's did really well for me, and I have no complaints. Honestly, the sponsorship aside, I think it's a great tripod. This video isn't sponsored, so I can say whatever I want about it in this video. Okay, the next thing that's going to be important is you're going to want a telephoto lens. I know that a lot of photographers preach that gear doesn't matter, and to a certain extent they're right, it doesn't. But to another extent, it matters a whole lot. And for wildlife photography and bird photography, I think gear does matter a whole lot. Now, I'm not going to say your camera body matters a whole lot, but I think the lens is definitely the most important thing here. You're going to want a telephoto lens. I mean, there's no way of shooting bird photography with an 18-55mm lens unless they're literally like from me here to the camera there. That's not going to work. It's a wide angle. That's not what a wide angle lens is built to do. It's not built for bird photography. But this 200-500 on the other hand is. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to go and spend $1,500 on the Nikon 200-500, because you don't. You can pick up, if you're shooting on a crop sensor camera, you can pick up the Nikon 70-300 f5.6 to 7.1 or something like that. You can pick it up for about $100, and it's really good for crop sensor format cameras. It's really good for getting into bird photography. That's really what got me into bird photography, and I think it's a really good beginner's lens. Especially, it doesn't even have to be just bird photography. If you want to do wildlife photography in general, I think it's a very good beginner's lens. It's really cheap. You can find out if you like doing bird photography or wildlife photography or whatever. And if you do, I think that you should probably slowly invest up in a bigger lens. So the next thing I want to talk about is a camera body. Personally, when I shoot bird photography or wildlife photography, I like to use a crop sensor camera with a full frame lens, because that's when you're shooting Nikon, that's going to give you an extra 1.5 crop. If you're shooting Sony and Canon, I think it's a 1.6 crop. So you're going to get an extra reach. You're going to be closer to the subject than what I would be with a Nikon D850. Although I am sacrificing megapixels, because the D850 or the Z7, they would have a lot more megapixels. I don't know the exact amount, so I'm not going to say it and guess. But this only has 20.9 megapixels, so that's not a lot, but it's getting you a lot closer. And as long as you've got a good quality lens and good glass in your lens, megapixels aren't exactly super important. So the next thing I want to cover is technique. when you're getting started, I recommend probably going back as far as your lens can go when the bird is moving. So like, let's say I just started bird photography yesterday. I would say that I needed to be at 200 millimeters. When you're shooting Nikon, there's actually a focus mode called auto. And I think that's definitely the best focus tracking system for moving subjects, because when that bird's flying, it's going to lock right onto it, and it's going to do its best to get on the eye or the head of the bird. And it's always done an exceptional job. Now, as you progress, you can obviously extend your lens farther out, and you can learn to track at 500 millimeters and still probably use that autofocus point. That's if the bird is flying. If it's just perched on a branch, you use all the millimeters that you can get. I mean, if it's just sitting there, it's not moving, go all the way in. But if you're wanting to learn how to track the subject, I recommend starting as far back as your lens goes. Now, if you're on a 70 to 300, like I said earlier, that might be a little discouraging because 70 millimeters is going to be super far from the bird. But I mean, you're going to be learning how to track it, and just slowly, day by day, just kind of move that focal length a little closer to the bird. And before you know it, you'll be shooting at 300 millimeters, and it'll be voila, perfect, you know. So this is my setup and my techniques for bird photography. Gear doesn't matter, but it does matter to a certain extent. Remember that statement. That's very important. If you're wanting to get into bird photography, don't go out and spend $1,500 on a lens, because even if you get it and you like it, that's great, but you might not like it, and if you sell it, the fact that it's open and it's been used, it's automatically gonna at least take a couple $100s off your resale value. So don't do that. Please don't do that. Thank you all for watching the video. It means the world to me. If you enjoyed the video, you can go and follow me on Instagram at Rollins Amazing Photography. Definitely make sure to like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell to see more videos just like these. It helps me out a lot, and your all support means the world to me. Make sure to share it with your friends. That's what keeps me making these videos. I hope these tips helped. If you have any questions, or if you want to comment your technique for bird photography, feel free to comment it down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.